Hey, I'm Tom Dominy with Dublin Nelson, and we're a full-service wholesaler specializing in plumbing, irrigation, and industrial products. We are committed to building long-term relationships with our customers by earning your business every day. With a staff that collectively offers more than 50 years of expertise, our team knows your industry and is able to answer your questions and is ready to help you get the parts and equipment you need. At Dublin Nelson, our goal is the long-term success of your business. We achieve that goal with a simple commitment, doing things right, one customer at a time. So come by and see us at Dublin Nelson, 507 Airport Road, or give us a call at 478-272-3585, or stop by and see our website at dublinwithnelson.com.
You can't go wrong if you vote for my friend, Carolyn McCune.
I am the best choice for the Lawrence County Clerk of Superior Court.
Whatever Carolyn sets her mind to do, she can do it.
I have the transferable experience. I have the knowledge.
She tells me she's going to do something, and she follows through.
I am a community servant. I want to serve you all. You all are my constituents. You hire me, so I'm going to do the best possible job for all of Lawrence County. Not one sector, but all of Lawrence County.
I would gladly endorse her for this position.
I am Carolyn McLendon McCune, your next Clerk of Superior Court of Lawrence County.
Hi, I'm Anna Grace Myers from Myers Equipment and Supply, inviting you to come in today and see our full line of Gravely zero-turn mowers. For more than 100 years, Gravely mowers have been fueled by a constant drive to improve. Built to mow the distance. Find your new Gravely mower at Myers Equipment and Supply, 301 North Jefferson in Dublin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2020 Lawrence County Sheriff's Debate. I'd like to welcome to the stage Mr. Larry Dean and Mr. Marshall Floyd. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. As with our earlier debates, each candidate is going to have 2 minutes for an opening statement and 2 minutes for a closing statement. Each candidate will be given the opportunity to respond back and forth to questions and rebuttal, and I will decide when it's time for us to move on to the next topic. We're going to have our 2-minute opening statements now, and we're going to begin with you, Sheriff Dean.
Hello, I'm Larry Dean, and I'm honored to be the Sheriff of Lawrence County. I want to thank TV 35 and the Delva Theater for sponsoring this event. I'd like to thank all y'all that's come out here today to support us. I'm a lifelong resident of Lawrence County. My beautiful wife, Javon's here. I have 4 children and 10 grandchildren. I have 32 years of law enforcement experience. I started my career with the Department of Corrections and 26 years with the Department of Natural Resources Law Enforcement. I've built a lot of relationships with the citizens of this county. Basically, I've spent my whole life right here in Lawrence County. Promises made, promises kept. Our deputies work hard for you every day, and I'm proud of every man and woman that works at the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Dean. Mr. Floyd, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Good evening, everybody. I want to thank all of you in attendance here at Theater Dublin tonight and all of those that are tuning in on TV 35. My name is Marshall Floyd, and I'm running to be your Lawrence County's sheriff. The reason why I'm doing that is I've been to several thousand residences all over this county doing door-to-door, and the people of these residents in Lawrence County have asked me to step forward and run, so I'm here. I want to talk to you tonight about several circumstances or several topics. I want to talk about the crime rate. Mr. Dean said he was going to get a handle on the crime rate when he was elected. However, the crime rate has gone up. The FBI made a statement that said the crime has gone up in Lawrence County since 2017, and it has become a major problem since. I want to talk about the employee turnover rate. Mr. Dean took office and said that he was going to work on the turnover rate. However, I have a roll call here between the sworn deputy sheriff side and the jail staff position. There are 99 positions. Since he took office, he has had to hire or rehire 100 people to keep those positions filled. That's not handling the turnover rate. I want to talk about risk management and risk assessment. Since taking office, there have been 10 active lawsuits filed against the sheriff and the sheriff's office. And most of these suits are due to the termination of a vehicle pursuit with the use of the PIT maneuver. PIT stands for Precision Immobilization Technique. And that is an effective tool to use, but it's not a go-to, end-all, every-time solution. You don't need to use that every time. I've researched different ways to stop vehicle pursuits safely, minimizing risks for both the suspects, law enforcement, and also the innocent bystanders. When I am elected sheriff, I will bring these new techniques to the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office, and we will minimize these risks. There's no reason to keep using outdated techniques that could result in serious injuries or death. And finally, I want to talk about the Sheriff's Office budget. Since taking office, Mr. Dean has taken the budget higher and higher each year, and the budget has increased since he's taken office by over $1 million. That's not being a good steward of the tax dollars as you promised with all your promises. There are many things we want to discuss tonight, and I hope we get to a lot of important topics that you're interested in. I appreciate it. We'll stop now and let's get some questions.
We'll be right back after a short break.
It's nothing personal. It's just business.
Hello?
That's how some people do things.
Right away.
To us, everything we do is personal. Because anyone can answer the call. It's who shows up that matters most. That's the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them.
Ask Curry Maffitt Insurance in Dublin if auto owners make sense for you.
Re-elect Richard Stanley, coroner of Lawrence County. Since 1988, Coroner Stanley has served our community with compassion and care. Stanley was appointed by the governor and served 30 years on Georgia Coroner's Training Council. Richard Stanley was appointed to the Legislative Committee of Georgia, and as coroner, he and both deputy coroners are active members of the Georgia Coroner Association. As coroner, Stanley is proud that Lawrence County was the first coroner's office in the state of Georgia to receive Coroner of the Year, and both deputy coroners also received Deputy Coroner of the Year. Re-elect Richard Stanley, coroner of Lawrence County, serving our community with dignity and respect. Allen's Heating and Cooling is your licensed Amana equipment dealer. Trust Allen's Heating and Cooling to install and service your heating and cooling unit. Allen services all brands, and with the purchase of a new Amana, offers a lifetime compressor warranty. Call Sean Clark or any of his friendly staff at Allen's Heating and Cooling, your Amana dealer. Amana lasts and lasts and lasts.
Mr. Dean, I'm going to start with you with our first question tonight. What do you feel today is the number one issue facing your office, and how do you intend to address it?
Well, drugs and gang violence and domestic violence is becoming a problem all over this nation. Part of the domestic violence is because of the COVID. People are locked up inside. The state's cut the funds for the mental health people. We just have hundreds of people out there that need some help, and they don't want to be in jail. The drugs is ongoing. It's always going to be ongoing. Drugs contribute to other factors, property crimes and that. So, and we are starting to have some gang problems in Lawrence County. They're not so much in my jurisdiction, which is the county out there, but in the city of Dublin, East Dublin, where the population is at, there is becoming a gang problem. We are actually actively working on that right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Floyd, in your opinion, what is the number one issue facing our Sheriff's Department today, and how will you address it?
The Sheriff's Department or the crime within the county?
The Sheriff's Department in general.
Well, yeah, I've looked at roll calls. I've got an old roll call up here. It was in August, and I believe there's about 67 sworn positions, and I want to say 60% of those sworn positions have the rank of corporal or higher. There are too many chiefs and not enough Indians. I said this in 2016, and it hadn't changed. It's gotten worse. When you have too many supervisors, the tasks are not done because people think, well, that's not my job. We'll let somebody else do it. Well, the jobs never get done. And that's why the drug problem has gone up in Lawrence County. That's why the gang problem has gotten worse, because it was already here in 2016 and it hasn't been addressed. Now, Mr. Dean said it's not in my jurisdiction. Last time I checked, every place in this county was his jurisdiction, including Dublin city limits. So I believe he needs to work better with our municipal law enforcement agencies, the Dublin City Police, East Dublin City, every law enforcement agency here, to make our county a safer county. Don't put it off on somebody else. The buck stops with the sheriff.
Mr. Dean, would you like to respond?
Yes, sir. First of all, Mr. Floyd's got his statistics wrong about the crime rate in Lawrence County. We turn our crime rate into the NIBRS. I got the information here. We turn it, all our dispatch crimes that our deputies respond to, it's done by NIBRS. We're one of the first counties when we changed over to Eagle to become NIBRS certified. We got certified within 90 days. Your facts are wrong, Mr. Floyd. And, you know, we didn't get our facts off of the internet. We got our facts off from the FBI where we turn them into. Talking about gang problems, we've only had about 3 or 4 instances in the county outside the city limits of Dublin where there's been any gang violence. That was one of the first questions asked me when I was running for sheriff in 2016. Yes, we have a Find the Police Department here, and we have a Find the Police Department in East Dublin. I work closely with Chief Chapman and to work on this problem, but we're not like you were in Duval County down there. There's jurisdictions, there's several jurisdictions here. We have a police department, a mighty fine police department under Tim Chapman. We have a mighty fine police department over in East Dublin. So we have enough calls to answer in the county. I don't need to go to jumping jurisdictions between the cities. We have enough work to do. I've assisted these men in any way. You can ask Chief Chapman. You can ask Chief Lukey. I work with them well. I've also got an officer that's already gathering information on the number of gangs violence and number of gang members being identified. Matter of fact, the Sheriff's Association, we identified this problem over a year ago, and we're looking into it. But the majority of the crimes are not happening in my jurisdiction. Yes, the city of Dublin is in Lawrence County, but I have enough work to do without jumping jurisdictions.
Mr. Floyd?
The crime stats you're looking at, I'd like to see them, because the crime stats I have in front of me here say that Lawrence County's violent crime index currently looks like 32.9. That's 1.4 times the amount of crimes in Dublin city limits. And
I've got those statistics right here too. I can show you about the crimes in my county too, in our area.
Well, we can look at statistics all night long. The point is, crimes are here and you haven't addressed them.
I beg your pardon, you got your facts wrong about the crimes. I've got the facts here too. I'll welcome anybody to come by the Lawrence County Sheriff Department, and I'll give you a copy of the statistics that apply to the deputies at the Lawrence County Sheriff Department.
Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Floyd, would you support, with this discussion about crime throughout Lawrence County, would you be in support of consolidating law enforcement in Lawrence County?
If consolidation comes to Lawrence County, that's fine. If it doesn't, I'm fine with that too. We have some great law enforcement agencies other than the Sheriff's Office. We have some really great men and women that work at the Sheriff's Office, but we equally have a great Dublin City Police Department, East Dublin Police Department. We've got the law enforcement agency at the VA. We've got the campus police officers that are working with us. And I believe we can all work together whether or not we're consolidated. If we are consolidated, everyone comes under one roof and you can manage your resources more efficiently. So if consolidation comes, great, we can handle it. If it's not, if it doesn't come, that's fine too. We're going to work through it. And we're going to be efficient. And we're going to get a handle on the crime here that hasn't been addressed by Mr. Dean. And we will make Lawrence County a safer place.
Mr. Dean?
Lawrence County has 865 square miles. I think the county's working well like it is. I don't see where it would be feasible for us to consolidate. I don't think Macon's had a whole lot of success with that, but I'm not for it.
I would like to ask you, Mr. Floyd brought up earlier, and this was one of the questions sent in, your position on pit maneuvers.
What was that?
What is your position on pit maneuvers?
Oh, I'm for the pit movers. That's one of the tools in our toolbox that we're going to stop people that are coming through our counties, running over people, killing our citizens. I stand behind this pit maneuver. Mr. Floyd, do you think the Georgia State Patrol is a professional agency?
Yes, sir.
All right, I mirror their pit policy. So we mirror the pit policy of the Georgia State Patrol. The Supreme Court has upheld the pit policy. I stand behind it. As long as there's somebody coming through our county, I don't think you really understand the pit maneuver. We don't just chase people. We take people off before they go and do harm to the citizens of our county. There's been an incident right out here on I-16 that where the man was coming up 441 South, and there was a witness sitting there. He said if my officer hadn't pitted that man, that we would have lost lives right there at that busy intersection. I stand behind the pit, and as long as I'm sheriff of Lawrence County, until the Supreme Court denies us the right to do it, that's one of the tools in our toolbox, and I stand behind it.
I agree the pit is a great tool sometimes, but it's not a great tool every time. I understand the pit maneuver because I was taught how to do the pit maneuver several times in Jacksonville. However, what I'm trying to tell you tonight and everyone here listening is that there are better techniques out there that you can stop a high-speed pursuit that are currently available that you're not even looking at. I looked at some this morning, and the one that most impressed me is called a vehicle grappler system. It's currently in use. It's in over 30 departments nationwide. And basically what it is, it's a netting system that comes out from the front push bumper of a patrol car. It wraps up the rear tire, it immobilizes the rear axle, and that vehicle stops in its tracks. It's tethered to the patrol car, so the patrol car becomes a 4,000-pound anchor and stops it from going off the road, possibly injuring or killing somebody. So the risk will be lessened to both the suspects or their passengers in the vehicle that can't control what the suspect driver is doing. It's going to minimize the risk to the driver of the patrol car, the law enforcement officer, and it's going to minimize risk to innocent bystanders that might get struck by an out-of-control vehicle after a pit maneuver is used. So a pit maneuver is an exceptional tool when used correctly and in the right circumstance, but it's not the end-all go-to tool for every situation.
My officers are pit certified. I've also been trained in pit certification. I'm standing behind my policy. It probably takes a lot of resources to buy that new tool you're talking about. You don't realize the times that we don't pit people. The only thing you hear about, and the only thing the citizens out here, is to hear about the number of times that we do pit somebody. There's a lot more situations that we don't pit. The citizens of this county don't even hear about a tenth of the ones that we don't do. If it's not life-threatening to the citizens of our county, we don't pit them.
The resources that you say it might take a lot of resources to get this equipment, at what cost is a human life worth to you? This equipment can be used over and over again, and to replace it is just a set of nylon straps. So the 10 lawsuits that have been named since you've been taken office, according to the county commissioner's office, we're looking at a minimum of about $750,000 expense if everything goes right and you win every case that's been brought against you as the sheriff in the sheriff's office. So $750,000 versus a couple of $100 to go in front of a bumper. I think looking at different techniques is a better choice than to continue to put people at risk.
Well, I think if you would have come down there and passed a little of this information on, instead of criticizing me since the day I took office as sheriff, I've had to defend my position as sheriff of Lawrence County since the day I got elected. The first day that I beat Mr. Floyd in the nomination, his first words out of his mouth, he was, before he got beat that time, he was going to support me for the nomination. Whatever Republican candidate won the nomination, he was going to support him. He has done nothing but criticize the Lawrence County Sheriff Department. And every man and woman out there that works for me, he has never at one time since I've been sheriff has he commended the job that the officers and the deputies and the ladies and gentlemen at the sheriff's department do. You know, it's like, I'm tired of hearing it. My men and women do a good job. They made me shine as sheriff, and I'm proud of my reputation, and I'm proud of the job that we're doing out there every day. So let's move on.
Do you want me to repeat or reply to that? I will.
Go for it.
Discuss that.
You want me to reply? At no time did I say I was going to support you. I said I would not support Bill Harrell, and I did not. When I lost in that election 2016, I bid you farewell, wished you good luck. You asked me to help you. Bill Harrell asked me to help him, and I declined both.
No, sir. There's people that walked out of the Civitan Club out there, and I won't call their names, but you told them exactly what you was going to do, that you was going to support me as sheriff of Lawrence County, ever who won the nomination, and I give you my word that I was. I happened to be the nomination, and you hadn't been a happy camper since.
Let's move on.
We'll be right back after a short break.
Hi, I'm Adrienne Love. I'm a proud Soperton native and resident, and our candidate for district attorney. This is my mom, Doris Love. She's our campaign church coordinator. Mama, would you tell the audience a little bit about who you are?
Okay, well, I'm the proud mother of Adrienne, number one, and I am the vice president of the Women's Auxiliary of the 12th District of the General Missionary Baptist Convention of Georgia. Adrienne is tough. She's tough on crime, she's fair, and she's a hard worker. But you can depend on her to do what she said she will do. I know that because I know her.
Thank you, Ma. She's also a retired educator, having taught for how many years?
38 years.
And how many of those were here in Soperton?
About 25 here in Soperton.
So she likely taught many of you, your mothers, and possibly even your grandmothers, but she's not that old. Mama, you're the reason that I am where I am today. Your upbringing, your love, your unyielding and undying support, your firmness, even though I did not appreciate it all the time, that still exists today. Your encouragement to be all that I can be, your encouragement to treat everybody like they count, you know, when you wouldn't let me say, oh, they don't count. Mm-hmm. Your admonishments about me saying those things when I was frustrated, just your constant love is the reason that I am where I am today. So thank you. Oh gosh!
What you did, put lipstick all over my face.
It's bad.
That's all right.
Mr. Floyd, you brought up the budget earlier. Discuss your concerns with the Sheriff's Department budget.
Well, it skyrocketed. Mr. Dean took office. The 2016 budget that ended before he took office was at a 6.059, basically $6,059,000. That's where it ended. The next year, he went over budget. He had to get advances in the budget from the county commissioner's office twice before he was out of his first 6 months. And he ended his first budget by going over the previous budget by $500,000. Each year, they've increased the budget to accommodate his spending, but he goes over each time. So since he's been in office, Mr. Dean has taken the budget over each year by about $347,000, I believe was the average of the 3 budget years that we have the numbers for. What is he doing with that money? I don't know. I don't think we've got a great return on our investment since Mr. Dean has taken office.
Mr. Dean, talk to me about the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department budget.
Well, first of all, you got your figures wrong. $875,000 has been spent since I've been sheriff over the budget we started with. First of all, 76% of that budget was for cost of living raises. We've added 5 resource officers and 3 additional deputies to patrol the streets and communities of this town. I don't understand a man that's been in law enforcement begrudging the law enforcement people to get a raise. I mean, that was the cost of living raise, 76%. Do your math, Mr. Floyd. 76% of that money was spent on getting cost of living raises and adding new deputies to patrol the streets of this towns of this county. Why would you begrudge a law enforcement officer getting paid a cost of living raise every year?
I don't. And the county commissioners have raised the cost of living increase. They've given every county employee a 2% across the board raise, including the sheriff's office, for several years. Now, you brag about you giving a 9% raise. Well, if you compound that interest that the county commissioners have given every county employee, that's an 8.25% raise. Now, you said I've got my figures wrong. Well, I put in open records requests, and I get these figures very often, periodically. And I have all of the budgets for the sheriff's office right here. And I can back up what I just said. So if you want to call me I guess you're calling me a liar, call the printouts that the county commissioner's office gave me.
I've been looking at the same thing here. I've been looking at $875,000 with total raises. Yes, the day I went, that's included in the budget. The $875,000 is the total raises. First of all, I got to fix here. The graphs went up. I intend to get some more raises for these officers that work for me. They put their lives on the line every day. Look here, Mr. Floyd. I checked. I got your records too. First of all, when you left office, you were making approximately. I'll call the figure. You was making approximately $60,000, which is $30 an hour. I don't have but 2 people in my whole command staff that make over $60,000, and that's the chief deputy and 1 other person out there. So I don't understand why you would begrudge a law enforcement officer getting a raise for a job he done. You was making this back in 2012 or whenever you retired from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm going to stand behind my men. They do me a good job. They entitled to be paid for what they do. So, folks, I have the figures here. The graphs are going up, and they're going to continue to go up as long as I'm sheriff, because the county commissioners approved every one of these budgets. Our millage rate in Lawrence County hadn't went up the first time. Every budget that I've spent has been approved by the Lawrence County commissioners. You've got your facts wrong.
All right, here's my facts. Since you want to hold up your graph. Here's my facts. 2017, the previous year was $6 million basically. You ended 2017 at 6.5 million. The next year it was 6.704. The next year it was 7 million, and you're on track this time to go to a 7.4 million. All right, now I'll let you speak, you let me speak. Now, I don't begrudge any raises for employees. And in fact, you got your figures wrong. I was making $31 an hour when I retired. What I want to tell you is I want to give everyone equal raises across the board with step raises, not giving them higher raises for your buddies and lesser raises for people that aren't your buddies, because that's what's going on. I looked at all the employees' salaries, and I have those up here. And you've got some people that you've given raises through promotions, and they're not even promotions, they're appointments. You don't have any promotional exam considerations, you don't do any promotional process, you just make appointments and give your buddies raises. There's some folks out there that have had a 3% raise since you've taken office, and others have had 20% raises. That's not fair to the person who doesn't get a raise like he should.
I need to rebut that a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, I've got the book here with everybody's pay scale in it. From the first jail officer, every one of them. The raises at the Lawrence County Sheriff Department is in line with, is equal. Everybody's been treated fair. When I come in the office, I had men there that were working, there was investigators that had 20 years on, and they were making less money than a man that had more time. I've got the fairest pay scale that the Lawrence County Sheriff Department has had in years. I got the records right here, and anybody's welcome to any one of them. You can look at anybody's salary, or you can go on the Lawrence County website and you can pull them up. I have been fair with the raises. If you don't believe me, ask a deputy, ask the clerk, ask the people that work for me. They seem to be happy with it.
Is that why the turnover rate is so high?
Let's move ahead, gentlemen. The no-knock warrants, Sheriff Dean, yes, no, why? No-knock warrants.
I'm for it. There's times that it saves lives.
If the situation allows it, we need to have a no-knock warrant, no problem. If it's somebody in the house that is a violent person and we know they're violent and they have the means to repel law enforcement entry, then we will do a no-knock warrant.
Mr. Floyd, what plans do you have when it comes to school safety?
We've got school resource officers in every school, and I am so thankful for that. Mr. Dean likes to take credit for that, but however, the school board made that happen. The school board proposed and pays for all of the Lawrence County deputy sheriffs while they're working at the schools 10 months out of the year. The other 2 months falls on the sheriff's office to pay for. So the school resource officers need to stay where they're at. You know, the other question that you may ask with this was about the arming of the teachers, and I wish we didn't have to have teachers armed, but until we find a better way to protect our children, I'm in favor of that as well. But I want to make sure that the teachers are very well trained, because that's an awesome responsibility to carry a weapon to protect somebody.
Mr. Dean?
I don't understand where he's coming from. Yes, the Lawrence County School Board does pay 10 months of the budget for our school resource officers. But I went with Dr. Brigham down here to see Rick Allen, our 12th District Congressman, and was working him. I went and talked with Matt Hatchett. We got us extra money. I've been actively involved with all the state officials getting raises for this. Well, who do you think outfitted those people? They had to have a uniform. They had to have a car. Yes, their salary is paid by the Lawrence County School Board, but that gives us additional officers in the summertime to work details and when a lot of people take vacation. I don't know where you said, why are you saying I didn't get, why I made it happen? There wasn't that many resource officers. We added 5, so who gets the credit for it? You?
I didn't claim credit.
Sheriff Dean, how will you address the drug crisis currently in Lawrence County?
Drug crisis? Well, we actually have 6 drug agents working now. I think there was about 3 when I came. We're in the Okmulgee Drug Task Force. We have created a crime suppression unit since I've been sheriff. We have made 453 active drug arrests in Lawrence County since I've been sheriff, not just marijuana, active drug arrests. Now here lately, because of the COVID, we hadn't been able to go out and lock all these people up. But yes, y'all talk about saving money or throwing away money. We hadn't had COVID in our jail. That saved us thousands of dollars medically because we had to postpone arresting some of these people. Now we still bring serious offenders to jail, but these drug arrests, 453 drug arrests, I made one of the largest drug busts that's been made in this county. It takes time to work drugs. It took 2 years, 6 months, and 20 days. But we brought down an organization that was doing $1,800,000 worth of drugs a year. They were doing meth. They were selling marijuana. They were selling ecstasy. They were selling all kind of drugs. And we got on other ongoing investigations. I've been actually involved in the drug, trying to stomp out drugs. It's going to be in every county, but we're working on it every day, trying to make the citizens of Lawrence County safer.
Thank you. Mr. Floyd, would you address the drug issues in Lawrence County?
It's an ongoing problem, and it has not stopped. It hasn't been handled. There are drug issues everywhere. You know, the numbers that Mr. Dean spouted out there, that sounds impressive. However, I kind of call that in question because every time you have an arrest, you're in the paper. And I haven't seen 400 drug arrests in the paper since you've taken office. Now, I don't doubt you're telling the truth because I know you tell the truth every time. So if you've done that many arrests, I applaud you for that. However, the drug problem in Lawrence County goes on every day. Yesterday I had to stop because there was an actual drug deal going on in front of me in a street right just around the corner. So I wish we could solve the drug problem like that, but it'll never happen. It's going to be an ongoing situation. We've got to do a better job. When he came into office, he disbanded the drug unit, sent them off to the Okmulgee Drug Task Force. He sent 2 officers there to start with and brought 1 back. So he's got 1 there now, which I guess that's what he's got now. That's what I understand. He said he made the crime suppression unit. Well, you can rename all your investigators to be the Crime Suppression Unit or the Warrants Division, which is what they are. You can name them anything you want, but you still have the same amount of manpower down there, and you're still getting the same results. And, sir, you need to step up and do better.
I didn't understand. What did you say the last comment was? What's your last comment?
Sir, you need to step up and do better.
Well, if you'll come along and help, you got so much advice. If you'll do something besides criticize the deputies and men and women that work for me out there, and you bring all these gee whiz wonderful ideas to the podium, we might could get a little more done. I just don't understand why you got to criticize the men and women that are doing a good job. The Crime Suppression Unit is catching people, and I don't understand why working with DEA, the FBI, the GBI is throwing away money, but running off people up there to the middle of the Okmulgee Draft Force. That's the professional organization. I'm proud to be a member of it.
I've not once criticized deputies. I've criticized your ability to lead. And you said you invited me to come down there and work. I'll be down there January 1st.
We'll be right back after a short break.
Hi, I'm Anna Grace Myers from Myers Equipment and Supply, inviting you to come in today and see our full line of Gravely zero-turn mowers. For more than 100 years, Gravely mowers have been fueled by a constant drive to improve. Built to mow the distance. Find your new Gravely mower at Myers Equipment and Supply, 301 North Jefferson in Dublin.
This is former Governor Roy Barnes, and I'm asking you to vote for my friend Kendrick Mack as coroner of Lawrence County. I've known Kendrick since his uncle, Johnny B. Hall, worked for me in the governor's office. He's a great individual with business experience, and he has a great plan to help grieving families during times of tragedy and loss. So on November 3rd, remember Kendrick Mack and keep him at the top of your list for coroner of Lawrence County.
Quality products and installations since 1985. That's 4 Seasons.
What do you feel our deputies need most to be even more effective and more efficient?
I think they need quality leadership. I think they need employee evaluations that haven't been done in years. I think they need to know where they stand when they do a good job and give them the ability to take training when training is important for them to continue to do a good job for the community. Mr. Dean stands up here and makes promises after promises after promises, but he hasn't followed through with these promises. You know, I had a career, 20 years of law enforcement. He had a career in the Department of Natural Resources, which was a great career, but they're 2 separate fields of law enforcement. He doesn't seem to understand that. He's gained about 3 years of experience as being sheriff, but likewise, what I'm saying is, he's not quite where I know I am, and I know what I can do for Lawrence County.
Sheriff Dean, what do you feel the deputies need most here to be even more effective and more efficient?
Well, first of all, I want to rebut Mr. Floyd on my leadership abilities. Well, first of all, you worked 20 years in Jacksonville, Florida, and you wasn't no more than a slick sleeve deputy. Now, you would make a good traffic investigator to work for the CERT team, but as far as the leadership skills, I'm proud of the leadership skills there. And first of all, I put command staff in charge, and I let those men do their jobs. I have capable men. There's 20 people at the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department that's more qualified to be sheriff than you are.
There's quite a few people here in Lawrence County that could be more qualified than myself. I freely admit that. Much more qualified than you. You made a statement that I was just a slick sleeve, all right? Well, let me tell you what I did. I was hired at 20 years old as a correctional officer. I went to patrol. I did one year in an organized task force unit while in patrol. I left patrol and went to the crime scene unit where I worked myself to a position of major case crime scene investigator, and I left from there and I went to the traffic homicide unit. I was one of 4 detectives at that time in a department of 3,000 people. You don't put anybody in one of 4 positions with 3,000 people to choose from. You choose a leader. You mentioned a while ago about my information. I want to ask you, how did you get my information? How do you know I was a slick sleeve, and how did you know my salary?
I did an Open Records Act on it, and I requested it.
Who did that?
I did it.
Tim Burris did that.
Through me getting it done.
Lieutenant who was a campaign supporter of yours that you hired and is now paying over $50,000 a year. Now, Tim Burris did this investigation of me, and I've got the 6 dates that he corresponded with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. And they're all Monday through Friday dates, normal business hours. The latest one, I believe, was 8 p.m., 11:39 a.m., 4:54 p.m., 2:40 p.m., 2:28 p.m., 8 p.m., and 8:57 a.m. 6 different times. Your lieutenant you hired, paying $50,000 plus a year, given a take-home car, is doing campaign investigation work for you. Was that on the county's time? Is that how you allow county dollars to be spent?
All we did was file an open record request, and they shipped them to us. Tim Burris didn't have to run around doing anything investigating you. I mean, you and Tim's had a falling out because of something about your family or his son, but Tim Burris does me a great job, and I'm proud of the salary I pays him. He's still about $10,000 less than what you were making when you retired after 20 years of service. Tim has 20 years of service with the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department. So I don't understand why you begrudge somebody getting a decent paycheck for a decent, for a day's work.
For doing campaign support work for you on the tax dollars, I do begrudge that.
If there's no deputies out there. You've also accused us of putting out signs in there. We have some officers that have some trucks very similar that's not marked. Nobody under my watch has been out there campaigning in a county car or truck, campaigning for me for sheriff. I'm hoping my record in this county will speak for itself. We've got a lot accomplished here, and I'm proud of every man, woman, and child at the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department. Well, I got to quit saying child, man, woman, and, I guess that's it, men and women.
Heath, I want to make one more comment, and then I'll quit with this. This isn't I'm getting tongue-tied. This isn't an accusation. Here's my own open records request right here. I'll hand it to you. You can have it. And it tells exactly when Mr. Burris communicated and took time out of his day to aggravate them because they wanted my records. You wanted my records quickly. So my question to you was, are you allowing employees to do your campaign work on duty and waste taxpayers' dollars?
No, wait a minute. Tim Burris works Tim is an investigator with the drug unit. He has flexible hours. I don't pay Tim 80 hours a week. He gets paid for a 44-hour week. I'm sure he had time to do it on his own time. We hadn't. I mean, you got your facts wrong.
Sheriff Dean, would you address your thoughts on the Second Amendment?
I'm pro-guns. Till our Constitution's changed, I believe in the right to bear arms, and that's what we'll do. I'll stand behind it.
Pro-Second Amendment all the way. I have taught, I think, 10 firearm safety classes since I ran for sheriff. People asked me to run for sheriff way back in 2016, and if I won, they wanted me to teach firearms safety classes as the sheriff. That didn't happen, but the people that asked me to do that came to me and said, will you please do it anyway? And I've taken the time to do that as often as I possibly can. And, I've taught, and I say I've taught, there's a gentleman here in the audience that helped teach safety. I'm pro-Second Amendment, and I'm armed right now.
I'll start with you on this, Mr. Floyd. What is the single most important quality you would look for when hiring a deputy?
Folks, we got to have people that are professional. They've got to be humble. We had this question way back when, and I kind of got tongue-tied. We don't need people who are arrogant, who have the Superman syndrome. We need people who will show up, who will listen to the needs of the people that we serve. We will respond, we will respect needs, and they will resolve problems. I have had complaints all over this county from citizens that people they're not happy with how their calls are being handled, and some say their calls are not being handled at all. Now, I don't say that. I've listened to people tell me that. So the qualities in a true law enforcement leader, someone who's willing to listen and communicate, because most of law enforcement, the business of law enforcement is being able to communicate, listen to folks, and diffuse the situation and help people move forward when they have a rough time.
Sheriff Dean, how would you discuss this, the single most important quality you look for when hiring a deputy?
You need a deputy of quality, integrity, and most of all, they need to have compassion, common sense, a willingness to learn from their mistakes, and just a man that's good quality people of integrity, honesty. It speaks for itself, and I think right now that every position I got at the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department is filled with people just like that.
Sheriff Dean, what do you feel is the most important asset that a sheriff must have?
Well, first of all, he needs to learn to listen to his people. And by being sheriff 3.5 years, going into office of sheriff, I learned this in sheriff school and all, even the sheriffs that got to be elected that had been chief deputies, till you sit into the office of sheriff, there's a lot entailed in that. You have to have a look at a totally different perspective of everything. In other words, even a deputy or a chief deputy can't see the same sides of things. You got to respect the people of the county and be willing to learn, and you got to be willing to change. If you make mistakes in your command staff and you make decisions that's not right, when somebody brings a new idea to you, you'll be able to go with the new idea and listen to them.
Mr. Floyd, what do you feel is the most important asset as sheriff of Lawrence County?
Well, first off, you've got to have patience, because everyone, including the sheriff, is in the constant learning mode. So nobody has all of the answers all of the time. And people will make mistakes. The sheriff makes mistakes. If I'm elected to sheriff, I'm human. I will make mistakes. But when mistakes happen and employees are brought to you, you don't curse them out. You don't belittle them. You work through the problem and you correct the action, and you have improvement sessions, not tear down sessions. So the sheriff needs to be professional. He needs to know how to listen to people. He needs to know how to talk to people, and he needs to know how to inspire people to do a better job, not only for the sheriff's office, but for the citizens of the county.
Mr. Floyd, one answer here for both of you gentlemen. What do you feel is your opponent's single greatest weakness? Just one.
He's not accountable.
Mr. Dean, what do you feel is your opponent's single greatest weakness?
He's untruthful.
I'll start with you on this one, Mr. Dean. Your strategy concerning gangs.
Strategy concerning what?
Concerning gangs.
First of all, we just had a class in-service training last week. We brought over a gang specialist from Washington County. The first thing we're going to have to do is set our commissioners down, our city council down, our community leaders, our business leaders. We have to educate them on how bad this gang problem is in our county. First of all, there's so many signs out there that the average citizen don't realize when it's gang activity. And I really think if we could set our commissioners, our school, not our school, well, even our school, we need to involve them too. But we got to educate the public on what this gang activity is and how great it is and it's happening in our city. And we got to move forward with that.
Mr. Floyd, how do we address the issue of gangs in Lawrence County?
We don't need to educate people because they see it in the newspaper about every other day, because the murder rate here in our Lawrence county seat, I want to say the FBI stated it's 3 times higher than the national average. What we need to do to combat gangs is stop the recruitment before the kids get to that impressionable age that they start listening to gang members. When a person gets to when a child gets to be about 13, 14 years old, they make up their mind which way they want to go. And it takes an act of Congress to turn that person around after that age. So we've got to be involved with children at a younger age before they get on that path to go down a gang alley. How do we do that? We involve the community. We get parents to become parents. We involve the pastors of our local church community. And we have police officers and law enforcement officers to take time with our kids. Something that we used in my previous law enforcement was called the Police Athletic League. We have school resource officers that work 10 months out of the year. The other 2 months, instead of putting them out on the interstate to write tickets, they could be working with youth during the summer, having a summer softball game or something to that effect. Something similar to when I was a kid, when I played for the Lawrence County Recreation, and I was the Dexter Cowboy, the football player, when I was 5th through 7th grade. We need to get involved with children early and stop them from getting on that path to go down gangs. Because once they get into a gang, it's very hard to get them out.
Mr. Floyd, if you had resources to fund one project for the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department, what one project would you fund?
I think what I just said, I would fund a police athletic league. Because if we can get involved with children and save a child before they go down that wrong path, if we save just one child, I would spend whatever it took to keep our children safe, to keep them on the right path. So that's what I would fund.
Sheriff Dean, if you had some unrealized funding, what would you use that funding to address?
Well, first of all, I want to go back to Mr. Floyd's previous answer. He did admit a while ago that the city of Dublin has a gang problem, not Lawrence County, where my deputies are dispatched to. And first of all, the resource officers that I have at the schools couldn't be any better. They interact with these kids every day. So take a look at your Facebook. We have some of the best resource officers in the county. Well, and getting back to your question, I would do a technology fund for where we could have some of this high-tech stuff where we could intervene in our gangs. We could listen to all our prisoners that are talking in our jails, and we just need a technology fund to get us up to par. When I took office as sheriff, we had to do renovation on our jails. We didn't have enough resource officers. We just need some technology money out there.
Thank you,
May I rebut?
Yes.
I didn't say that we had gangs only in Dublin city limits. I said we have gangs in Lawrence County, and they're out in the county as well. They're out in the county schools. I've spoken with your school resource officers. I've spoken with teachers, and there's gang activity all over this county. So quit trying to put words in my mouth. You talk for yourself.
We'll be right back after a short break.
I am proud and honored to speak on the behalf of Stepping Stone and the great work that they have done in our community. We are very blessed to have Stepping Stone here to assist not only our community and the victims with the spirit of excellence, but even to our law enforcement when it comes down to prosecuting these cases. Stepping Stone is epic when it comes down to the forensic interview, the evaluation, as well as the medical exam right here in Dublin, Georgia. For years, I've served on the board here at Stepping Stone in the past, and it was a task to get a sane nurse here in this area. And Brooke has done an excellent job with her staff to have a sane nurse to serve 8 or more counties when it comes down to these types of investigations. You cannot ask for a better facility. So today, I'm very proud to speak on their behalf and the great work they've done in our community.
Thank you for allowing me to serve you for the past 35 years. Hello, I'm Jackie Dalton, your Clerk of Superior Court in Lawrence County. I began my career in the clerk's office in 1985. I was appointed Chief Deputy Clerk in 1996 and elected as clerk in 2009. Throughout the years, I have gained knowledge and experience in every department in this office. I have a proven track record. I have gained knowledge and experience through dedication to this office and the people I serve. And I ask you to please go to the polls, vote for, and re-elect me as your Clerk of Superior Court. Thank you for your continued support. I'm Jackie Dalton, and I approved this message.
Gentlemen, thank you for a very spirited debate this evening. We're going to close now with our 2-minute closing statements, and I'm going to start with you, Mr. Floyd.
You know, I've always been told the best indicator of future performance is past performance. My opponent likes to stand up here and make promises after promises. However, his promises have not come true. He promised to stop the turnover rate, the employee turnover rate, but it's gone up. He promised to get a handle on the budget, but it's gone up. He's allowed unnecessary risks that negatively affect the lives of our county citizens, resulting in several lawsuits. The crime rate, he hasn't handled that. It goes up. Mr. Dean, you swore an oath of office to take when you were sworn in, and the citizens have seen that you have not upheld your oath of office. I've heard several allegations, and I'll name one, like you allowing a DUI suspect to avoid arrest because of a friendship or political partnership. If this is true, that's malfeasance in office, and that's a crime. Your unprofessional and irresponsible behavior has been noticed by the citizens of Lawrence County. Your cursing outbursts to citizens, your employees, and caught on camera, the Georgia State Patrol, and most recently, the last week of August, when you allowed your unsecured issued firearm to be left in your sheriff's office truck, unlocked, in your yard overnight. Your weapon was stolen and is now in the hands of a criminal. You've caused enough embarrassment to Lawrence County, sir. It's time to elect a professional as your sheriff, a sheriff that stands with integrity and honesty, a sheriff Lawrence County can be proud of. When elected, I will work to ensure the public safety, not be a promise-breaking politician. Every citizen and visitor that comes through this county matters to me. It's my duty as sheriff to provide the most professional law enforcement services to everyone, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, a person's social standing, or economic status. I've worked well with all segments of society. I ask Lawrence County citizens to note my experience, my leadership qualities, my education, training, and my proven track record of accomplishments both in and outside of Lawrence County. I believe it's these qualities and accomplishments, my commitment to be free from favoritism, and my love for my home county that will make me the best choice to serve Lawrence County as their next sheriff. When you elect me, I will work with our community. I will work for our community, and together we will get the job done. I humbly ask you, November 3rd, or if you choose to vote early, please vote Marshall Floyd for Lawrence County Sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Sheriff Dean.
Well, first of all, I'm proud and honored to be the sheriff of Lawrence County. And I don't know where he's getting up the promises made, promises kept. I've done that. I created 5 resource officers, 3 additional deputies, added on to our jail, formed a crime suppression unit. The biggest thing I've done is I got raises for my men at the Lawrence County Sheriff Department and women out there. I'm proud of my record as sheriff, and I'm more proud of the men and women that serve under me. First of all, they have made me shine as your sheriff. I have competent people in positions. They do me a wonderful job, and I let them do their jobs. The security and safety of our community is always my first concern. Over the past 3.5 years, I made a lot of contacts with the citizens of this county. I've been involved in the community. I participated in the St. Patrick's Festival. I had a little incident out on the interstate about a cow. I put a plan in motion. I was contacted by the landowner at that time that he has some cows stranded on there. They couldn't get any tires out there, so I called my deputies, told them that the man needed some help. This is about 10:30. I put a plan in motion, got enough help out there to rescue those cattle off the interstate. 2 hours later, I get a call that the state patrol has stopped us from moving those cows off the interstate. Yes, I was upset. I drove down there and I got a little, only person I need to apologize to was the Trooper Jones. I apologize to him, but I don't apologize for my actions. Mr. Floyd, if that had been your cows out there, I would have done the same thing because I know cattle. And I also know that the man lost 5 head of those cattle because that trooper failed to let those deputies offload those cattle. Now, we had already turned around a 40-foot trailer that sat there by the interstate about an hour that could have been backed up there and unloaded. But the trooper didn't want to. It was inexperience on his part, and I understand that. But I'm proud of the job that I've done as the Lawrence County Sheriff. And this pandemic has been something else. We've had to work through it. We've managed to keep out the coronavirus out of our jail. I got to give Captain Peacock credit for that and the jail staff. But we have done an excellent job. The security of our community and our schools is my top priority. And I'll be honored and ask for your vote on November the 3rd for Larry Dean, the Sheriff of Lawrence County. Thank you and God bless you.
I want to say thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Sheriff Dean. Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Thank you for joining us. And on behalf of TV 35 and the Dublin Lawrence Chamber of Commerce, we want to remind you to exercise your right to vote.